I wanted to do a showcase video of my Pyanodon world. I've played on this save now for 430 hours, and this is my base so far. I'm actually not even halfway done with this mod pack. I'm still missing 5 science packs. If you're not familiar with Pyanodon, the full mod pack contains 9 mods. It is by far the biggest overhaul mod for Factorio, adding thousands of new recipes and items, and it just makes the game a lot more difficult. After playing for this long, I would highly recommend checking out the mod pack. It has been a lot of fun playing, and even though it might look very daunting, and the early game is very difficult, it's also really interesting and fun to play. I will also link an installation guide to this mod pack in the description. That also includes some recommended mods, and I'll also list all the mods that I'm using for this playthrough. So these are my milestones. Here I can see at what timestamp I got a bunch of notable items, and so far I've gotten 6 different science packs, and there are 5 science packs left. So the most recent science was the chemical science after 350 hours. Other than that, you can see I got my first trains after 120 hours. So I can show the research tree, and there's a ridiculous amount of different technologies to research in this mod pack. I can scroll really slowly down here, and it's just almost never ending. I have about 1/3 of them unlocked so far. Even another huge overhaul mod like space exploration looks really small compared to this. So yeah, I'm at chemical science over here. Another thing is just how many technologies are below the science packs. So after I got the chemical science here, I just had like 30 plus different options to choose from. You can also look at the production science, and it's a similar situation. This area here is where I make all my circuit boards. And these complex circuit boards was a really big achievement. I made my first one after 300 hours. They are really important because you need them to make productivity and speed modules. So all the buildings around here are required to make all the components for these complex circuit boards. And I can show in the factory planner here, if we make complex circuit boards about, let's say, 10 a minute, this will show all the ingredients they require. And if we expand some of these, like the diodes and the microchips, it quickly becomes a lot of different ingredients. So this is just to show some of the scale of how many different ingredients you need in Pyanodon. It gets pretty ridiculous, and this isn't even close to the end of the mod pack. I can just keep expanding these for a while. You also need the previous basic circuit boards, which I also make in the same area. So let's look at the trains. I have 270 trains and almost 400 stations, and we can see them all here. I named them all just using their icons, and I found this a lot easier than using their names because it's just so much easier for me to remember what the icon looks like. And one thing about the trains is that they all have very simple schedules. I don't have any mods that improve the Factorio train system. I know a lot of people use the logistical trade network when they play Pyanodons, but I just use these extremely simple schedules where they first go to pick up their items until they are full inventory, or they have waited 300 seconds, and then they drop off all the items until their inventory is empty. I believe every single train in my system actually uses this really simple schedule. But this works perfectly fine for me. I haven't had any real issues with it yet. The whole train system is actually really simple. I can show the electricity production in my base. So some of my power comes from tidal power, but most of it comes from steam turbines. And by the way, this number up here in the production is actually bugged because of the tidal power. So it shows a lot higher than it actually should. My actual maximum power is around 7 gigawatts. So my tidal power are from these 2 blocks over here. One is down here and another one above. I found tidal power to be a really simple way to create infinite renewable energy. And the rest of my electricity comes from steam turbines. These take pressurized steam, and in this area they are powered by geothermal power. This is also a relatively simple way to create electricity in Pyanodon. There's more geothermal power over here and then another spot down here. There's also some other steam turbines here. These are powered by biomass power plants. So as an input, they take one of these plants. I'm growing them to the right here. These plants get turned into biomass, and there's this little process here that turns the biomass into dried biomass to increase fuel value. And these biomass power plants can just power a bunch of steam turbines. One thing about this mod pack is that it's very common to have to rebuild something or move it or change it completely. You also often unlock new, better recipes for the same materials. So what I'm showing here is the base after 150 hours and then the base after 430 hours. And it's pretty much everything in the center of the base here has been either moved somewhere else or completely rebuilt in a different way. I just wanted to show this example of how much my base has changed over these hours. So one really interesting design thing that I've learned while playing Pyanodon is this design pattern where if you have a self-contained process when crafting some material, it's a really good idea to just create your own small compact design with all the machines in it. And if you place all the inputs and outputs on the same side, it becomes really easy to expand by just copy and pasting the design. So for example, here I'm making latex, and if I look here at the factory planner, this will show all the buildings that are in one of these designs. And in this example here, there are 3 ingredients as input and then latex as output. And instead of just making like one big connected build for all the latex, I've created one small design with all the inputs and outputs on one side. And this system makes it so easy to just copy and paste it whenever I need more latex. Then you can also think of one of these designs as one big assembling machine that has a single recipe with these 3 ingredients, and the recipe outputs latex. Another example is down here. This is a process where I crush down some red ore. And again, I have all the inputs and outputs on the same side. And if I want to expand, it's really easy to just copy and paste the whole design. So I hope you can see how much more organized the builds look when you use this sort of design pattern. Some other places is my copper plates and iron plates. I've done the same thing here where the whole block right here is one big compact-ish design, and all the inputs and outputs are on the same side. And whenever I need more copper, I can just copy and paste the build. So this area up here is a gigantic mall that uses bots to request all the items. This might have not been the best idea, but this mall turned out to be gigantic because I wanted to leave space for every single future machine upgrade. So if you look here, in total there is over 100 different crafting machines, and every single one of them has an MK2 version, an MK3 version, and an MK4 version. And because these electric assembling machines are 7x7 in size, this mall turned out to require a lot of space. Another thing about my playthrough is that I actually have aliens enabled, even though this is not recommended when playing with the Pyanodon mods. I've turned off alien expansion and I turned off pollution, so that the only way aliens will attack is if I attack them first. I've also turned the evolution time factor down to 0, so that the aliens only get stronger when I clear out aliens. And I actually really like these settings because it limits the space you can build a little, and I like how it rewards building a bit more compact. In total, I've spent quite a lot of time clearing out aliens, but personally I don't really mind because it's a nice break to do something else, and I tend to listen to something on the side while I clear out some aliens. And if you want to play with aliens yourself to limit your building area, I would recommend these settings. And they're a bit easier than my world. Peaceful mode is good so that they never attack you first. And turn the destroy factor to around 100, I believe is a good difficulty. My world also has a lot of water. The settings are 150% water and 300% coverage. And this water made it even more difficult to have space for everything, but I really liked the challenge of limiting your space in this interesting way, and it also made the map look a lot more interesting. Landfill is also really valuable. So, for example, I have this station here where I make a landfill from all my stone and gravel byproducts. The Pyanodon mods are occasionally getting updates and bug fixes, but I haven't actually updated my mod pack since I started this playthrough, which is over a year ago now. I'm not 100% sure if this was a good idea, and it's not recommended, but my reasoning is that I dislike if the balance or recipes change in the middle of a playthrough. So for example, if they add some feature that makes the game a bit easier, I just think it's weird to have played the first however many hours without it, and then it suddenly gets added in the middle. But the updates do look really good from what I've seen from the Discord. It's just that I don't like the idea of updating in the middle of a playthrough. I actually don't think I will continue to play on this save. I'm planning on taking a break to wait for the Factorio 2.0 update with all its quality of life changes. And when Pyanodon is updated to that version, I think I'll start another playthrough. So in conclusion, Pyanodon is very fun. I would highly recommend trying out the mod pack for yourself, and thanks for watching.